On the instructions of President Putin, I spent 2 days in the United States and received a positive response. We had a very frank discussion. I believe that our American colleagues recognize the need to resume dialogue with Russia. Russia has withstood the strategic setbacks that the Biden administration tried to impose, and has done so with dignity and success. Now, through dialogue, the United States is seeking to identify points of common interest between our nations, and we are witnessing the beginnings of respectful, good dialogue. How would you describe the current state of relations between Russia and America? Is the ice beginning to melt, or are we just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel without a real thaw? Dmitry Sergeyevich Peskov aptly described the situation as one of cautious optimism. A number of key figures on the Russian side, including President Vladimir Putin, Yuri Viktorovich Ushakov and Sergei Viktorovich Lavrov, are playing a crucial role in restoring our relations through constant communication with their American counterparts, keeping them informed of Russia's position. We can see that our American colleagues are willing to listen. However, it's important to recognize that many of Russia's opponents remain in the US government. The so-called deep state is still very much in place. Moreover, a significant number of other countries are actively trying to undermine efforts to promote dialogue and rebuild relations between Russia and the United States. So while there is a fragile hope that dialogue has been restored, we must also confront the information campaigns aimed at disrupting this emerging thaw. We see that the White House is under enormous pressure from all sides at the moment. From the inside it's the Democrats, from the outside it's Europe. Well, the war party is strong at the moment. Tell me, in your opinion, will Washington be able to resist? Will it not give in to this pressure? Well, you know, it's important to recognize that this is not just about pressure, it's also about disinformation. There is a significant amount of disinformation out there, particularly on issues like attacks on energy infrastructure. I was quite surprised to learn that it's not just the American public that is being led to believe that Russia is responsible for ceasefire violations on energy infrastructure. Even some key figures in the administration seem to be unaware that it is actually Ukraine that is carrying out attacks on Russian energy infrastructure. There's a significant flow of disinformation aimed at completely sidelining the Russian perspective within the US information landscape. We're seeing attempts by numerous countries to provide misleading information and put pressure on the US presidential administration. Take, for example, the current demonstrations. I've even compared them to an attempt by the deep state in the United States to orchestrate some kind of color revolution. These demonstrations are strongly supported, especially by the Ukrainian media, which would be impossible without direct instructions from the Ukrainian president's administration. The pressure is enormous and the amount of disinformation is alarming. Nevertheless, we recognize President Trump as a formidable, confident leader who will do what he believes is right. I believe that he and his administration will be able to withstand the immense pressure they're under, provided they're given accurate information. What will help the Trump administration maintain its position are the shared values with Russia, which also reflect our traditional values. We know that President Trump has said that there is only one man and one woman, and he understands that the main problem in Europe is not Russia, but the disintegration of Europe through immigration and the suppression of different opinions. So there are many traditional values that we share. Against this background, there are many rumors that American companies will soon return to Russia. At least I am not aware of any official requests from Washington to the Russian authorities. You discussed these issues during your trip. And do you feel that American business is ready to return to trade with our country? Certainly. First of all, I'd like to mention that we currently have 150 American companies operating here, 70% of which have been in our country for 25 years and have remained committed to their presence. Despite political pressure, they continue to do business successfully in Russia. We are also receiving a significant number of inquiries from American companies in various sectors, particularly energy. It's important to note, however, that their participation can only take place in areas where they are welcome. Priority must be given to Russian companies and the promotion of joint partnerships with foreign companies. I believe that focusing on joint ventures is the most effective approach to engaging American companies that are genuinely interested in investing in Russia. You know the American business mentality very well. You have worked in leading American companies, and you have been negotiating with the Americans for a long time. By the way, your plan to restore Russian-American relations, which you proposed 9 years ago, has been mentioned in the Mueller investigation. Briefly, can you remind me what was in it? Well, it's a pretty straightforward plan, one that's hard to argue with. The first point focuses on a common effort to combat terrorism. The second is nuclear non-proliferation. The third involves joint economic projects. The fourth relates to the resolution of outstanding issues, including disagreements over Ukraine, which, of course, should have been addressed 9 years ago, something that the Russian leadership has consistently argued for. Finally, the fifth point is the establishment of cross-sectoral working groups to facilitate dialogue. Had this been done 9 years ago, many of the problems we are facing today could have been avoided. That's a lot of experience. Can you trust the Americans in negotiations? After all, they can be deceived, as they have been before. Well, of course, I am here both to trust and to verify. But, very importantly, there are no illusions. Because the United States is absolutely defending its national interests. Russia defends its national interests. But the benefit is primarily for them, isn't it? Absolutely. The primary benefit is undoubtedly for them, but it's worth noting that the Biden administration previously overlooked situations where our national interests were aligned. The current administration is actively seeking those areas of agreement. For example, President Biden significantly undermined confidence in the dollar, while President Trump recognizes the need to restore that confidence. So it's critical that the Trump administration is committed to identifying those points of convergence. Kirill Alexandrovich, what exactly were the negotiations about? I understand that your sphere of activity, your responsibility, does not include the normalization of the work of the embassy or the question of demarcation. So what is your responsibility? The first priority is undoubtedly the restoration of Russian-American relations. I have been working on this for many years and sincerely believe in its importance. Our focus is on economic and investment cooperation. We have discussed a significant number of potential joint investment projects, including ventures in rare earth metals, the Arctic, and liquefied natural gas, LNG. Interestingly, even the most conservative people in the US, when asked why don't we do some projects together, tend to think about it and say, well, in principle, why not? We are making progress in breaking down the barriers that the Biden administration has put in place by effectively using our icebreakers of investment and economic initiatives. For example, economic cooperation has been instrumental in repairing our previously strained relationship with Saudi Arabia. By investing together in a number of Russian projects, we have been able to promote cooperation not only in the economic and investment sectors, but also in the energy and political arenas. And what is the level of this investment in our economy today? We have more than 45 projects with Saudi Arabia, and the investments are in the billions of dollars. Kirill Alexandrovich, when can we expect new Russian-American contacts? As early as next week.